About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Good evening. Hi, and welcome to our latest live stream for AQA A-Level Sociology. And I am joined this evening by Craig and Katie, who are that way. No, that way. That way. I can never do that. It's anyway. And we have got half an hour or so this evening on ideology and science in relation to the beliefs in society topic, and as I'm sure you are aware, that is part of the bullet point that was mentioned on the advance information. So there is a reasonable chance that the 20-mark essay could have something to do with ideology and science. It could also be more general on kind of theories of beliefs. It's a good opportunity to spend a bit of time revising this and thinking about this evening. So it's great that there are lots of you joining us. And those of you who are joining us live, if you'd like to get involved with the activities tonight, there is the live chat window. You can type your answers into that. We can all see those and we'll respond to your answers. If you're watching this on replay or catch up, which we know many more of you do over the coming weeks, you can't join in on the chat window, but what you can do is perhaps pause the video from time to time and have a little bit longer for some of the questions. Okay, are we ready to get straight on with it, do you think? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's start with the first activity, which is called Categorise.
Hi, yeah, thanks, Duncan. Categorise. What we're looking at with this activity is we're going to give you 8 key kind of ideas, 8 key concepts. And this looks at the debate about religion and science, the similarities and the differences between religion and science. What will happen is the clock will start and you will have to organize the 8 key terms into 3 categories, either a feature of religion, a feature of science, or a feature of both. Okay, so what you might want to do in the chat window is sort of like, you might want to put religion and put the numbers next to it, and then science, the numbers on both, the numbers next to those as well. So if we could start the clock, please, Duncan. Oh, we've got music this week. Yay.
Nice and
so we're starting to see some people put it through.
Dramatic music team.
It is. It's very dramatic. I suppose the science and religion debate is quite dramatic, isn't it? You know, very traditional. I imagine you should have some classical music or something on for this one.
It's like people are just having to start plating up on the Great British Menu or something like that. MasterChef, the professionals.
So we've got Junahab, who has said number 1, falsification is a feature of science. Grace Olivia has come up with science is an open system, falsification, empirical evidence. Sasha has come up with 4, 5, 6, and 8 under religion.
Okay, step away from your dishes.
There's a few more coming through. yeah, step away from your dishes. Get ready to hand them over to. I don't even know who does MasterChef now. Is it Greg and John? Is he still on it? Greg, what's his name?
Greg
John,
Wallace
yeah.
and John.
No, isn't it?
Yeah,
Someone
Greg Wallace and John.
It depends whether it's the professionals or the. Sorry. Anyway, we can carry on.
I don't know.
Let's pretend it was Bake Off.
You tuned in for Sociology, not MasterChef.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look at our categories. Let's look at the categories and see sort of like how they sort out.
Okay.
They are sorting out. Yeah. They're coming through there. Okay. So we've got religion as being a closed system and being faith-based. Science is an open system. We might challenge that a little bit later on in this live stream. Empirical evidence and falsification, both of them have sacred teachings. Now, what we mean by sacred teachings for both of them is they have like core texts, core ideas. So, for example, while we might talk about religion and having sacred teachings, the idea would be that the work of people like Einstein would be, very much revered within the scientific community. So they do have these figures that they hold up, and they have these core texts that they hold up as being sacred. They're both meta-narratives, and they are both anthropocentric, which basically means that they place the human species above all others.
Depending on which religion, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like some religions, like Buddhism and things like that, they are less anthropocentric than others. But certainly, generally speaking, sort of they do tend to place most of the world religions sort of place humans above others, as do science. So these are some of the debates these are some of the things that you could look at if you were to be asked the question, sort of like to evaluate the similarities between science and religion. So let's move on to our next activity. Oh, it's me too. Okay, so on our stepping stones activity, we're going to look at the skill of analysis. And what we're going to do in this one is we're going to give you a start and we're going to give you an end. And we are going to look here at views of science. So we're going to look at sort of the different theoretical views of science. So you can see in the first one here, we've started with a statement that says that feminists argue that science is patriarchal. And our conclusion would be that there are barriers to women's inclusion in the sciences. What we have to do is fill in the gaps as if you were writing a paragraph in an essay. So how does this argument that science is patriarchal lead to women's barriers, to women's exclusion in the sciences? So what process would we go through? Let's make a kind of chain of analysis here where we go from science being patriarchal to seeing barriers to women's inclusion in the sciences. This is a bit of a tough one. We might want to maybe reveal the next one just to give it an idea. Can we do them one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. So, feminists argue that science is patriarchal. Women were excluded from education until the 20th century. Certainly, working class women were excluded. We're focused more on science now and with this debate. This one.
But it's quite interesting,
So what
isn't it?
might
Because
that have done?
if you were comparing science with religion, you might be tempted to say, "Oh, well, science is objective," and then you say, "Well, however, someone say that science is patriarchal," and then we could have this discussion, couldn't we? So, yeah.
Why do we think women were excluded from education until the 20th century? What was it based upon, do we think? Might help you with the next part. What assumptions were made about women prior to the 20th century? It's a bit of a difficult. This always seems to be a bit of a difficult task. This one, but it is higher order thinking skills.
It is.
So this is one that sort of like really gets you thinking. Helps you. Oh, that's a nice one. The expressive role. Okay, assumes women's role in the home. They should be the homemaker. Yeah, let's move on to the next one, please, Duncan. It's based upon scientific ideas about gender, which then led into. Let's look at the next one. Women were expected to raise the next generation, and this then led to barriers to women's inclusion in the sciences. Okay, so you can see sort of like how women would sort of like suggest that, how feminists would suggest that sort of like that science is patriarchal because science has created these barriers for women in education and also sort of like in the sciences themselves. Let's look at our next one. This one might be a little bit more straightforward. We're looking at the Marxist view. Okay, so Marxists argue that science serves the needs of capitalism, and our end point is that there is increased profits for the owners of the means of production. So how might science serve the needs of capitalism? How might science lead us to increased profits for the owners of the means of production, the bourgeoisie? How might science serve the needs of capitalism? Particularly if you think back, probably to roughly just after Marx, well, around about the time of Marx, thinking about sort of like how science and the way we think about the world might have changed.
I was thinking of a much more contemporary application, because the way we're all interacting with this is probably through things that scientists have helped establish, and someone somewhere is making a lot of money out of it all.
Oh, there's a nice kind of one from Magda there. Scientific advancements in technology help spread global capitalism. And Saba sort of like has got it there with the Industrial Revolution. Let's pull up the next one, Duncan. So the manufacturing of goods and services, which obviously sort of like is then introduced by labor-saving technologies in factories, which is the Industrial Revolution, which then leads to the reduction of the size of the workforce, which means that science and scientific development can increase the profits for the owners of the means of production. So this is the kind of chain of analysis that you need to have when you're writing a paragraph about this. So if you were to get a question that looked at the idea of Marxism and science, what you might want to do is go through that process in order to get there. Okay, now I'm going to hand over to Katie for a connection one.
I was just reading the last point from Grace there about techno-science as well for your last point. Anyhow, we're going to move on to the next point exercise, which is connections walls, which I think you've seen a couple of times already. So I'm not for those people that are regulars. Basically, we've got 12 key concepts or phrases on the board. Actually, might as well show them so that you can sort of have a quick look. What we're going to do is you've got to group them. Initially, first round is work out 3 groups these will go into. So there'll be 4 keywords in each group. So you've got to think of what the connection between 4 of the key concepts are. So have we got a timer for this by any chance, Duncan? Or
we don't have a timer, so we can. I mean, I can get my guitar out and pretend we have, but we don't. No.
We don't. Okay, so if we can start just thinking about reading the concepts there, the keywords, how might you group them together? There's going to be 3 groups, and obviously you want to put 4 of the key concepts under one group. And sort of give you a clue, it's linking to ideologies, okay, so particular ideologies. or ideas around ideologies. There we go.
Yeah, ideas about ideologies.
Ideology. So how might you group
Ideological ideologies.
Yeah, ideological ideologies. And that's the focus of today. Get your keyboards type in. Okay, so we've got the first one: conflict, the ruling class, false consciousness, ISOs. What group would you? Oh, right. Yep. So we're going to link them into theory. So what concept, Isabel, might you link them to? Matthew, you've got the right concepts. What's the group? What's the name? What's the thing bringing them together? Feminism definitely, so Marxism definitely, Functionalism not so much. But how could you then group which ones? Excellent. So those, we've got one of them down. So we probably could we flash one up at a time? The Marxist one, the first one, isn't it?
I was about to say, can you remember what order they come? If Marxism was the first one, that'd be handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it
All
is.
right. Okay.
Okay, so we've ruled out them, so they're off the board now. So ruling class, hegemony, false consciousness, and ideologies definitely link. So it's the idea there, while you're working on the other ones, is that Marxists believe that ideologies are created to obviously benefit the ruling class, to be framed through hegemony, which Gramsci talks about, ideological state apparatus, which obviously is there, and then it creates this false consciousness. The next one is Cody. You've mentioned feminism. So what we link together, we've got male gaze, male stream, patriarchal, and conflict. Conflict doesn't necessarily come into that one. So there is another one. I don't know if anyone else wants to contribute to that at all. Is feminism. So maybe we can show those ones. I think that's one's next anyhow. So it's social control. Social control, male gaze, male stream, and patriarchal. So it's the idea that the ideologies are from a male perspective, so a patriarchal system. You've got the male gaze, which is obviously the idea that it's all about men from a male perspective, and that creates social control. So ideologies are a negative experience. The last one, what we've got, pluralism. Interesting. So what do you think? This is not a theory. I'll give you a clue. So consensus, set of beliefs, set of ideas, potentially conflict, or creates conflict, or consensus, that is. Excellent. Okay, Alex, I feel like there's like a fist pump there in the air. So Alex, well done. Okay. Yeah. How did you get that? Where'd you get that from, Duncan? That's immense.
I've got tricks up my sleeve.
There we go. Well done. So it's the idea that we define an ideology depending on what theory you're coming from. As I know someone mentioned functionalism earlier, then obviously they think ideologies are positive. And what I'd hoping, I was just talking about this to Duncan and Craig beforehand, that hopefully drawing those synoptic links between, so that's your perspective, focus on goals, feminist is the best theory, that you're supposed to be seeing some synoptic links here, particularly just then when you're just looking at science. Hopefully you're drawing that into your theory stuff as well as obviously your beliefs, and hopefully you're getting to that point where you're seeing those links. Some great ideas from you lot. It's amazing, really impressed, so well done. Oh, it's me again. Yay! Oh my god, I'm excited. Okay, so I want the same enthusiasm you had for this round, if not more. So that's your challenge. So the aim for this, the spinner is going to randomly select a keyword that will link to a word that's in the middle. So we're going to do that now. So the keyword is religion. Duncan's going to press the spinner, and what your goal is to make a link between the keyword, which is religion, to another one that's on the ball. So you've got to see how they link. Connection spinner, exclamation mark. Someone's really enthusiastic there, loving life. Okay, off we go.
Where will it stop?
Who knows? Oh, the suspense. Oh, just in. It's a bit like, what's that TV program when they're spinning around? Anyhow,
the wheel.
Ideology, the wheel. That's it. The wheel. So what I want you to do is link the concepts. If you got this in the exam paper, you got the word religion, and it's making that link to ideology. What keywords? What concepts? How would you approach this essay question? Off you go. Some keywords. Anything you think of. There's no timer, so just start typing.
I suppose there's a few ways you could go with it. Is religion and ideology? What's the difference between religion and ideology? You could think, what do the different sociological theories think about religion in relation to ideology, or Mitch might have on there.
Yeah, so Mitch has started with the idea of ruling class. They have an ideology. So associated with what theory potentially? How would you approach this? Keep them flowing, these answers. Yeah, Marxism, Mitch. Anything else? Maybe what the function of an ideology is?
So in relation to religion, I guess there with the Marxism point is it's that kind of Althusser point, isn't it? Religion's part of the ideological state apparatus. That's making
brilliant. We've got loads. We've got a flurry here now. It's so quick. We've got Marxism, institutional control, Marxism, feminist. So you could take that perspective, which is a nice sort of mirror from potentially one of the theory questions. Nationalism. Oh, interesting. I'd like you to elaborate on that if you can. Open with the people, ideology. Marxism see religion as an ideology that benefits. Oh, you are on fire. Okay. Marxism has argued that ideology creates false consciousness making. Got a lovely little sentence there. Proletariat believe there's stuff in legitimate. Oh my goodness. Excellent. False conscious superstructure, superbase. We've got some lovely concepts, and obviously it's turning them into a paragraph for your
opium of the masses.
Yeah. I love that.
We'd better mention Mr. Mosdell because he gets a shout out in the chat window every week, and it's obviously a very popular teacher.
Cody, some brilliant ideas about pluralism, dominant ideologies, patriarchal ideologies. Obviously Mr. Mosdell again. Like, I feel like he needs to maybe. Oh my gosh, I've got an idea. I'm just going to leave it in my head. Religion, closed. So we've got loads there. To be honest, amongst you lot, you have basically covered pretty much most aspects. I've only just put on there, capitalism. It's not really, it's a poor answer from me, to be fair, isn't it? I'm glad that I'm not taking the A level. Okay, and well done, Isabel. That's really clear about the acceptance of subordinate positions. Last one from me, last spinner. Again, it's the word religion, and where are we spinning it to this time?
Let's hope it doesn't land in the same place. That'd be the danger zone.
Don't say that. The danger zone.
The wheel. The wheel.
Were you allowed to say this? Wheel. Would we get in trouble?
Yeah, this might be Sorry.
Oh, beliefs. Okay, so you're going to make again the link between religion and beliefs. So what concepts, ideas? I reckon I'm just going to let you be. I'm not going to keep on talking because I get very enthusiastic about it. And then there's going to be a flurry of answers. And then the odd spattering of Mr. Mosdell's is alleged or legend.
I suppose, again, think of different ways you might go with it. You might think about belief systems. You might,
think about religion. I'm thinking about it without giving you answers earlier, but Craig alluded to it earlier as well about how we saw potentially beliefs and how they were different. Is science just a belief? I know we're talking about religion, but there's an evaluation of that potentially. Are they both beliefs? Okay, Calvinism. So again, probably needs a bit of expanding that. Okay, so the idea there, Durkheim, monopoly of truth. Okay, excellent ideas there. The idea that you hold a belief of what is the main, which is something we talked about earlier. Excellent. Some ideas. Idea of closed belief again. Absolute truth. Religion is an open belief system. Opposite. Ooh,
that's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to hear more about that. Excellent. The idea that there's a belief that you might be rewarded in heaven, which probably links into Marxism. Popper, falsification. Oh, we've got collective consciousness. So we've got lots there. So not to eat. Oh my goodness! I told you this was going to happen. You can't stop yourself. You're going.
Excellent.
Okay, so beliefs around maybe political belief systems. We like in the link between beliefs, religion, and politics. Some of these will be unpicked a bit more, but idea Kung and the Popper debate, nice link as well into the sociology science debate. Actually, there's sort of crossover to that. Paradigms. We're talking about paradigms of truth here, I assume, and making science a closed belief system. Like the sort of Black Swan theory. Theodosius privilege. Amazing. Okay, so we've got lots there. Again, a poor show from me. So closed beliefs in Popper. I mean, what does that do? Not much, really. But so you've actually offered a lot more. So amazing stuff. I feel very confident with your learning and your understanding. You should feel really good about yourself. So well done. I'll pass back over to Craig. Oh gosh, wow! This is look. Magda's done another good point there.
Yeah.
There's still lots coming through, isn't there? There's still lots of good points coming through.
Loving life.
Kind of our next activity is looked at evaluation. And if for those who've tuned in before, it's the evaluate wheel. For those who haven't, what we do is we make a statement. And once we've made the statement, sort of like what we look to do is we look to evaluate it. Now, an evaluation can be a strength, a criticism, an alternative, a limitation, or a piece of evidence that supports that idea. Okay. So let's look at our first. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of sound.
Yeah, there's a bit of an echo going on.
There's a bit of an echo, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so our student argument, the students put forward an argument, and what we have to do is we have to evaluate it. So we've got science and religion differ in that science is an open system of beliefs, where religion is a closed system. Right, let's spin the wheel and see what happens. What type of evaluation are we going to need to make of that?
I'm expecting Isabel to come back with something, and someone else earlier about open systems. So hopefully.
Yeah, Fatima had a good thing about
it. Was it Fatima? Because I couldn't remember who it was. We can't scroll back.
There were quite a few that sort of like I saw popping through, and I was thinking, okay, well, this should help the next one. Yeah. So what is an alternative view to this view that the student has put forward? And this can be put forward as an evaluation. The idea that science and religion differ in that science is an open system of beliefs, whereas religion is a closed system. Can we find a viewpoint that is an alternative to that?
You know what they say?
Science is an open system.
Flurry. There's going to be a flurry of answers soon, Craig. Trust me.
Oh, well. I can see one coming. It's about to appear. Yeah.
No, it's Fatima.
Religion is an open belief system. Herberg suggests religion is open to belief and changes internal secularization occurs. Oh, that is a nice one. That's quite a nice answer there. Cody, Kuhn's paradigms, the only true extent of knowledge is society hold at the moment. That's a really nice way of phrasing that, I think. Science is a closed paradigm. Leotard, science is no different to other religions as they claim to know the truth about the world. Okay, so that's a good one. It could also be argued religion is somewhat open in the sense that it welcomes newcomers into the community all the time. We're thinking about it being an open belief system, really, there. Sorry. Chloe's come up with science is a closed belief system, as a case as with Dr. Can't remember his second name. Okay, in which science, in fact, guards certain ideas. Okay, so you're talking about Kuhn there, I think. Science is a closed system, and Pentecostalism. Let's look at my response. I went with sort of like a very similar response to some of you there. However, Kuhn would argue that science is not as open as we think, with knowledge that contradicts existing paradigms rejected in a similar way to challenges to religion. So what Kuhn argues is that sort of the idea is that science is actually a closed system until such a body of evidence builds up to change it. So there's quite a few people put in there. Some people went a different way and sort of like started talking about how religion can be an open system of belief, which I quite liked, because often sort of like you do see that lots of people go, oh, well, no, science is closed too. But lots of people went with it a different way. There's still some good ones coming through. Isabel Poliani argues that all belief systems, including religion, have self-sustaining beliefs in the face of contradictory evidence. Okay, that's a good one. Let's look at our next one. And Jessica's got Pentecostalism now. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. We've got another student statement, again, focusing on this kind of debate between the extent to which, to the theoretical views of science and religion. So we've got here postmodern, sorry, you going to say something, Doug?
I was, but I feel we've moved on slightly. I was just going to say the Pentecostalism point was a good example of that maybe religion being more open. There's also things like women priests and women rabbis and things like that, aren't there?
Even moving into things, I mean, you can make the kind of leap to sort of like things like New Age movements and things like that as well, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So postmodernists argue that both science and religion have been rejected as individuals now move away from believing in meta-narratives. What type of evaluation are we going to look for this one? Let's spin the wheel.
The wheel.
Oh.
The wheel.
I think someone spoke about it earlier as well, another name earlier.
And there's lots of spinning. There's lots of spinning in these things, isn't there? I feel quite dizzy. Dr. Velikovsky. Okay, Chloe, thank you. Okay, so what evidence? Sorry.
I was going to say, if I was a student, definitely worth watching this on catch up, because you've got so many valid sentences, not just one word. You could go back and almost borrow a lot of people's learning here.
You can do. And obviously obviously some people, we do, different students will learn from a different range of textbooks, and some of these textbooks will have different pieces of research in, particularly because we get students from kind of all over the place studying. We're currently logging onto the live streams, don't we? So what evidence supports or criticizes this statement that we've made here? Postmodernists argue that both science and religion have been rejected as individuals move away from believing in meta-narratives. What evidence can we find to either support this statement or reject it? So we think about evidence, pieces of research, statistics. Okay, increase. So we've got Matthew coming through, increase in the number of people who've been joining NRMs and NAMs in recent years. Okay, that's a good one. You could use that to evaluate this idea.
Yep.
That this meta-narrative of religion, particularly traditional religion, spiritual shopping, heavy leisure. Have I done it? Is that the right French pronunciation?
Wasn't too bad.
Oh, that's mad. You just don't ask me to pronounce that cultural capital, fella. Okay, secularization. Yeah, secularization is a good example there. We could use maybe some statistics from that. Help people through poverty, working class, increase secularization. Yeah, we could use evidence, lots of different pieces of evidence that talk about secularization, everything from social attitude surveys, statistics on the census, research by the likes of Bruce. There's lots of evidence of that. To criticize it, New Age movements are growing in popularity. Yeah, religion's becoming more divisive. Lots of really good stuff coming through here. Science creating as many problems as it solves, for example, global warming and pollution. So people are becoming more skeptical of meta-narratives. Okay, so that would support that kind of claim. What we'd look for is a piece of research to kind of back that up. Let's look at my response. This can be supported by social attitude surveys and the census that show a decline in church attendance in contemporary society. I went pretty much straightforward with this and sort of said, yeah, we can see that people are moving away from religion because we can see falling numbers of church attendance. We can see this meta-narrative being rejected, but there were some good pieces in there. Growth of new religious movements, growth of New Age movements, religion become more diverse there. I think Cody's put the Kendall study, Bruce, Britain secularization, lots of these ideas. Meta-narratives is this idea that there is one truth, there is one true way. So if we look at some of the meta-narratives, sort of like in religion, it would be that they hold, that these religious beliefs hold a monopoly on the truth. Within science, it's the fact that science is fact. That would be seen as a meta-narrative, whereas we've actually broken it down into now people have a very subjective interpretation of what the truth is.
Yeah. So meta-narrative, it's a kind of postmodern concept, and it refers to the idea of a big. It literally means a big story, but it's like a big story that kind of explains everything. I was just thinking, interesting with this evidence one would be trying to find evidence of the rejection of science, because obviously we've got the data for where we can find the people moving away from religion. There's definitely stuff, if you think, look, it's just what studies there. Stuff. I was thinking, like, for example, things like anti-vax movement and things like that. But it'd be interesting to know what studies. There are probably some very contemporary studies looking at that, I should think.
You could look at sort of like, I think not only anti-vaxxers, you can look at sort of like people sort of like who like the Flat Earth Society and things like that who disbelieve science.
Yeah.
So, but Jennifer was only testing us. Oh, that's good. Keeping us on our toes. Brilliant. Okay, now it is just after 7 o'clock on a Wednesday evening.
Love it.
What?
I love it.
It's just after 7 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, so you know what time it is. It is time for Duncan Hall's. What's it called? What's the thing called?
My House
Smash
of Games
Words.
or Word Smash. Yeah. Just time for a few word smashes before we wave goodbye. Someone's asked, could you apply contemporary studies like anti-vax in the exam questions? You could certainly refer to that. I mean, if you can find a study about it, even better. But yeah, you could make that reference as an example of people rejecting science. Although it's worth mentioning that the vast majority of people, accepted science on COVID as well, so you could use it either way, I guess. Anyway, Word Smash is an activity. If you haven't seen it before, I'm sure a lot of you have. A bit like one of the ones on Richard Osman's House of Games, where you get a picture and you get a question or a clue, and you have to smash the two together. So the end of the first one becomes the first of the other. So the example there, it's an elephant, it's Antarctica, so it becomes Elephantarctica. So the question or the clue is the bit about ideology, science, or religion. The photograph or picture is just a bit of fun. Okay, see how you get on with these. So our first one wrote about open and closed belief systems. So it's come up quite a lot this evening. So I reckon people can get the sociology end of the puzzle quite quickly. I'm looking for a genre really on the other side.
Oh, I get it. Yes, sorry, done it.
Having run through these this afternoon, I genuinely think these may be the three best ones that Duncan has come up with.
Well done,
ever.
Jessica. Well done, Jessica. Here it is indeed. K-popper. K-pop. Karl Popper, absolutely. I like Psy Gangnam Style. trying to get it into it. I'm not sure where we'd have gone with it, but yes, absolutely, it was. K-popper. Well done. Lots of you getting that. Oh, I've got high hopes for the next two. After that, okay. Wrote about hegemony and counter-hegemony. I always like to include a bit of 80s pop in there.
I don't even know his name now.
You've forgotten his name?
No,
I do.
I'm too young to remember.
I'm not. The first song I ever bought was by this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. How old are you?
All right, it's not Prince, Jennifer. No. I'll give you some songs he did. Stand and Deliver.
Prince Charming.
Yeah. And one that probably gives away his name a little bit was called Ant Music. Isabel is right with and Fatima are right with the other half of it, but we do need the whole name. Cody's identified the person in the picture. If you smash the person in the picture who Cody's identified with the full name of, it wouldn't be Adam Gramsci. I like it. Adam Gramsci. I like it. Yes, Alex has got the full name. So if we link them all together, it is Adam Antonio Gramsci. Adamant and Antonio Gramsci. It becomes Adam Antonio Gramsci. Okay.
No, and for those asking, it's not Prince.
No. Oh, well done, Adam. And yes, if we could have done it with the group as well, Adam and the Ants. Yeah, the individual, that was the name of the group, was Adam and the Ants, but he was also known as Adamant. Okay, and the last one of those, a society run by and in the interests of men. We've got to go with how it's written rather than necessarily how you would pronounce it, although it's one of those words that some people pronounce differently anyway, but most people wouldn't pronounce it in the way. Oh, well done, Fatima. Yes, it is. And Isabel's getting the idea. Yeah, Jessica. Well done, Sasha, for the full one. Basement patriarchy. Basement bats and patriarchy. Basement patriarchy. Well done. Lots of you getting that one. Excellent stuff. Okay, just time for us to mention that if you've got a smart device, you could go onto that QR code. We've got loads of activities and videos and study notes on the TutorTube website, including loads of videos put together by Craig. Lots of new ones on coming up at the moment, or recent ones. Lots of beliefs ones. You can get our revision guide, exam skills workbooks, flashcards, etc. from there. Better still, you could come to the tour our cinema tour will be coming around for the end of this month, before and after Easter, and you can come and see us in person and do some of these activities. We'll put a couple of word smashes in there. Why not? Do some live ones along with lots of very serious exam revision and hard work. Yes, you can come to the tour, focus on goals. We'd love to see you. Okay, so loads of brilliant answers there, weren't there? Some fantastic answers. Yeah, really
some
good.
really, really good answers.
Yeah, really good.
Some answers that were better than ours.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Absolutely.
Duncan, you might be phoning some of these students next week to actually get them to fill in for us, because they were that good. They were better answers than we put in.
Excellent. Someone's asking, when will the next Sociology live session be? We will be back for next A-level one, will be this time next week. Yep, so we will see you then. I can't remember totally off the top of my head what we're doing, but it's more of the advanced information.
The rest of religion.
Right. So kind of theories around religion and theories around beliefs. Okay, that's brilliant. And if just final couple of things to say, if you enjoyed the session, please click the thumbs up. That helps other people find these in the future, and it makes us happy and it gives us joy. If you haven't already, do a subscribe, and then you'll get a notification when we're next going live. Down there you can see tutorstudent.net/live. On there we've got all the videos for all the sessions that we've done starting around this time last year, or a bit before this time last year. So there's loads of them, loads and loads of them you could get, and you can download the PowerPoints as well if you want to use those in your notes and for your revision. Okay, see you guys. Thank you very much. Well done.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.